Good evening, good evening, good evening. Beautiful evening here. It's about 80 degrees, 81 maybe, real low humidity than what we've been having. Golly, it's a beautiful night. So I come out for a walk and kind of give you a little insight about what I've been doing today and all of the ladies and the gents are down away from obviously where I've been working today. They're down at the other driveway. That's other part of my farm on the other side over there. That's all corn and stuff on those hills, stuff over there. So that is actually at the very back of it, which is probably about 3/4 of a mile to 1,000 yards away. But they kind of been hanging around this big tree down here. It's big, like a big pin oak down here, and they've been hanging around it. They're down behind my house. I have a rental here, and then my house is down where you can't even see it. It's them trees and stuff. You can't even see my house for that. So unless it's wintertime. But anyway, this is what I've been doing today. Got my other buckets on there, and been putting in a box here, which is going to be here tomorrow. Concrete box that I put in and covered up here today, where it runs down that little valley. Let me pan back, I'm sorry. It runs in that little valley right there. It runs right down, there used to be a pond right down there. So there's another box about right where them posts are there. There's a fence goes up there where I can actually, as you can see, I've got it shut to keep them in that section that runs all the way up to there. So about 30 acres in there that they're in. But this today had to do driveway repair. I made a video on that about, it cost me, I said $4,800. I got real close. It was about $4,400. And that's with this rock included here too. Dug all this out and put another box underneath there for drainage, and gravelled over top of it instead of dirt. Putting dirt, I'm gonna haul the rest of that dirt away. And we use a little baby track hoe, and then the skid steer. But this, and this, my road goes on back up through there and back over the hill and to the back up there. And that's another big hay field on top of the hill, adjacent to that one there. But anyway, that is what was done today. This had to be done. There's too much water standing in this area up here. It was, you'd think it would run down the hill, but what it was doing, it was ponding under here. So just had to put a drainage box and pipe through it to where it would kind of flow easier with gravity down the hill, back down that way to, I just showed you down to where that pond used to be. Obviously it's a natural runoff. So that's what you get with a natural runoff. So anyway, this is some really good dirt here. So I got a guy up the road, he's wanting it because it's really good quality dirt. Around here, it's like a silty clay dirt. And you can see these are this where it's been raining. You know, it's nothing but mud, but see, it doesn't stay packed up. You can bust it apart. And you squeeze it, but it busts right apart. And if you get something that's called fat clay, which a lot of people have and don't, some people just don't know, and that's okay. Everybody doesn't know everything, so including me, that's a fact. But you know, it's like you can ball it up like that. If it's fat clay, it'd be coming out between my fingers when you squeeze it together. But this doesn't. It just, and trust me, it's wet. It's like mud. It still breaks apart. So this is the kind of material that you would use in like building a new home or a building pad for a parking lot or for a structure of any kind. It doesn't matter. This is what you want to, this is what the kind of dirt, this is actually expensive dirt to buy. When you got to haul in thousands of yards from this off site to build whatever, a school or whatever you want to build, you know, of course, this is all topsoil here. This big chunk of dirt here. This is all your like sod with some topsoil. And you can kind of see your layers of dirt. You got your topsoil with your really dark soil here, and then as you get on down here about 4 or 5 inches deep, then you got the same dirt I was talking about. That type of stuff. And believe me, that is wet. Really wet. But, because you can see the mud sticking to my hands, obviously. But it comes apart. It doesn't stick together when you squeeze it. It'll still flail apart like that after. And I'll tell you, folks, we just got 5 inches, so actually 6 inches of rain. And I dug down. This was all came from about 6.5 feet, 7 feet down. All this material. And you can see how wet it was. All the way down. All the way down. That is all wet. But it makes really good for when you're, like, if this is what you would want if you were going to sod your yard or seed your yard or even level your yard, having somebody come to put a grade on your yard, what they would call it, to level it off for grass. As you can tell, this out of here, as you can see how lush all this grass is. Of course, green is the time this year, but that's what this produces. It's got so much nitrogen and phosphate in it. It's really, really, really high soil content as far as being valuable in growing things or putting out hay or you know, alfalfa or some kind of hay or timothy or clover or your garden, corn, soybeans. And that's why I said over on them hills over there, I got about 155 acres, I think, of corn, and only got about 40 acres of soybeans, because soybeans don't do as good. They do good around here. We don't really, they don't pay that real well here. The soil and everything, kitchen is good for it, but I'll tell you what this soil is good for here and why it's so popular, and it's become so popular here in the past 25 years, is wineries. People are starting up wineries. They have already years ago, and they're doing really well now. I think there's 5 or 6 within this county and a couple other counties around, and I mean, they do everything. They do from growing the vines to bottling it up and having places where they have events there at their place, their pavilions. They rent them out for weddings, and they're really beautiful. But that exact soil right there that I had in my hand, that's the kind of soil that people want. that is very, very easy to get rid of. Just put it to you that way. Because if you go about 2 more miles west of me, you don't have that kind of soil. That when I was been squeezing that together, it had been protruding out between my fingers. It would have been mushy. It would have been like having a lot of elasticity in it, where it just, you can't use it for anything like that. Because when you pack it down, this will stay packed hard, and the more weight you put on it, the harder it'll go down, and so it makes for, that's what it's made for. And then your fat clay, you squeeze it down, nothing will grow through it hardly, because, well, weeds. But good grass, good garden, or anything, or a good place to build your home, not so much. It won't do well. It won't pass inspection, for one thing, in some places. I know that because that's what I've done pretty much my whole life, except for doing funeral directing work or stuff like that too. I know that's 2 odd combinations, but hey, when you're a kid just out of high school, you really don't know what you want to do sometimes, especially when we were growing up. But anyway, I won't don't keep on here long. I was just wanting to show you kind of what I do, and this is not really what I do all the time, but it is anything to do with around here. If I'd have had to hire somebody to do this today, and what I did to this driveway, it would have cost me probably $12,000, and I did it within a day and a half, pretty much, of my time. You know, my time's worth something, but it's better than have to pay somebody else to do it. And you know, these 2 pieces of equipment, I'm 50% owner with another gentleman, because he uses them too, because he puts in water lines for people that wants water lines for their livestock, extra watering facilities. Because here, believe it or not, I'm on city water, and so we have watering troughs. They could be, he puts in like these big tires. They come off of these dump trucks they call ukes, that you see that have tires 7-8 foot tall. He takes them and cuts the side of them out and puts them down flat and seals them up, and puts water in them, and they hold water. And when he gets done, and you've got a bigger trough that holds a whole lot more water than what I'm going to show you right here. This is your regular trough here. Sun is probably blocking it a little bit, but it's small. You got a tire there. It's about a 4 foot around circle. That's about 2.5 foot deep, and that holds. So these, they have a float ball in them, and so does the tire. They put a float ball in them so they don't get, so they don't overrun all the time, and so that it doesn't freeze. And obviously when you got it going up and down, it's kind of hard for it to freeze anyway. And you get around these, you got to watch, because they're wet. Some of them leak a little bit. There's nothing you can do about it, or they get overrun. But this is what my cattle drink out of, and so that's your little float ball. When they come up here to drink, they know to push that down, see? And when it's up like that, then that keeps this from kicking on and pumping more water into it. And that's what this is for all your controls. And every time you just gotta come and make sure these are working correctly and not frozen, so you can have water. But anyway, we have a military helicopter coming over right there, as you can see. They are, they've really been on the move out here for the last few days. A lot. I don't know what's going on other than what we all know is going on, but this is their flight, either east to west this way, or that way, when they're going that way, there's a base that's just about 12 miles west of me. And they're fixing to make a little U-E right now, and that's what they're turning. They kind of just patrol around. I guess they're out on maneuvers and stuff like that, I guess, training and stuff. But that's mostly a for reservists. But they stay busy. So, busy. But, folks, I appreciate it. If you've been on here, wasn't really nothing exciting. It's just kind of showing you again what I do here to keep the girls happy, and guys too, I guess, the babies, and what it takes to partially run a farm. And I really, in the daytime, I try to get my phone out and do stuff, and every time I try to make something, it gets screwed up because of 1,000 things going on, and it's just really hard to make a video unless I'm by myself, and very seldom when I'm by myself. It's very dangerous to be by yourself out here. If you get hurt and you're by yourself, it's like that's why I'm not working right now. If something was to happen, I'd be here until in the morning if I didn't have a way to get to my phone or something, and you don't want that here, folks. I live way back off the road, and nobody's going to hear you. Nobody. So if you don't have a phone, you'll be there until somebody comes. So anyway, hope everybody has a blessed evening. Hope everybody takes care of themselves. And like always, God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Take care.